Hey guys, if you watched my last video where I broke down the Robert Whitaker versus Yoel Romero middleweight championship fight, you'll notice that I made a comment about how Yoel Romero could possibly miss weight coming into this fight. Now, it's currently about 9 o'clock Eastern time on June 8th, and we've a little while ago received news that Yoel, in his first weigh-in attempt, came in a pound over championship weight at 186 pounds. Then, when he was allowed to weigh in again 2 hours later, he still missed championship weight by zero point 0.2 pounds. So it's official. Yoel Romero has missed weight, but Robert Whitaker has still agreed to go through with the fight. However, it will be a non-championship fight now. I'm not sure if they're going to keep it in the main event spot. They might move it to the co-main and keep RDA versus Covington as the main now. But nonetheless, I wanted to take this opportunity to talk about what weight cutting is and why someone like Yoel Romero has issues with it. So weight cutting is the process of literally squeezing all the water weight you possibly can out of your body. Um, Fighters do it so they can put on weight more quicker between the weigh-ins and the actual fight. And if you weigh significantly more than your opponent on fight night, you'll have a significant strength advantage. You'll be harder to grapple. But fighters typically can go up to 40, even sometimes 50 pounds over their division weight. So like, I know Eddie Alvarez has a walk around weight at about 200 pounds. That's why he couldn't step in to replace Tony Ferguson at UFC 223 is because he said he was too heavy. It was too big of a weight cut to do in a short amount of time. Fighters have multiple methods that they can use to achieve weight cutting. The most popular is through sweating. They usually do that in saunas, steam rooms, hot baths, any environment that they can sweat a lot of their water weight out. It's a very, very, very difficult process. It involves a lot of dehydration. Um, Fighters will typically ingest dandelion root. It helps them pee their water weight out. Um, so when you cut weight, it's a lot different than losing weight. Losing weight is typically is that weight is gone. It's a lot harder to put on. But when you cut weight, it's a lot easier to put back on in a short amount of time. So if you cut down from let's say let's use Brian Ortega as an example. Brian Ortega is a featherweight, which means he's weighs in at 145 pounds. I think his walk around weight is somewhere around 175, maybe 180, 170 to 180 in that range. So to cut 30 pounds in a month or so leading up to a fight, he has to hydrate himself a lot in those first few days. And what it does is kicks his body into overdrive. He pees a lot of his water weight out. He then after that he can move on through the hot bath method and whatever he wants. And eventually, come wait the day of the weigh-ins, he weighs in 145 pounds. Now, as soon as he steps off that scale, as soon as he's made weight, he begins to hydrate himself again. Now, what that does is that puts on the weight that helps put on the weight he just cut. Not all of it, but a lot of it. So he goes from 145 pounds on Friday morning to Saturday night with his fight against Frankie Edgar, weighed in at about, he said, 168 pounds. That is absolutely insane for the human body to go through that kind of weight change that quickly. It's really not healthy for you. But so that's what weight cutting is. So let's talk about why someone like Yoel Romero has had difficulty with this in his previous two fights. So I think there's a few factors that contributed to the reason why Yoel missed weight. Um, the first being is that he's old. When you're older, it's a lot harder for you to lose weight in general, even through exercise or anything like that. Weight cutting is the same thing. When you're older, it's just harder to get your body to do what you want it to do. Um, the second is actually building off of that. What um what a lot of fighters say is that when you fight for a long time and you cut weight for a long time, with each weight cut it gets harder. It never gets easier. You have to put more and more effort. You have to start cutting sooner. You have to start cutting more the more you fight. And Yoel's been fighting for a long time. He's 41 years old. He's a Olympic silver medalist. I don't know if he cut weight back then, but definitely cut weight for them MMA career. And like I said, it just gets harder each and every time. I don't think Yoel was intentionally missing weight this fight to try and gain an advantage. Because I mean, even if he listen, he's not fighting for the championship anymore. But even if he wins, the next fight is gonna be for the belt. Maybe he would be able to make weight in that fight, but it's different from someone like Mackenzie Dern. I think because you can just see the margin. Mackenzie Dern missed weight by 7 pounds. That's just unprofessional. That's inexcusable. That's intentional. She's purposely cheating to gain an advantage over her opponent. Um, Darren Till missed weight by I think 3 or 4 pounds. However, there were reports that his girlfriend was suffering problems with her pregnancy, and that's why he had to go back and forth between the hospital. Couldn't really focus on the weight cut as much as he liked. So I guess we can give him a pass there, unless it happens again. Then of course we'd have to look at both times. But Yoel missed weight by zero point 0.2 pounds on his second weigh in. And that's just like for Yoel, that's got to be devastating. I mean, like you put all your effort into cutting weight and you still don't make it. Um, so I'm gonna say that Yoel definitely didn't intentionally miss the weight. He probably tried to cut it, but like I said, it's just too hard for him. He cuts a lot of weight. He's older. Like I said, his body is just not responding the way it should be. You can just tell it's a tough weight cut for Yoel. I mean, he literally had to get helped off the scale and escorted back to his room by one of his coaches, I believe. He looks like he's in pain, like wincing, just not being able to walk on his own. It's a very, very, very taxing process on the body for anyone. I mean, there's been other instances in other promotions where people have died from cutting too much weight or not cutting weight the right way. So moving forward, people are going to ask, what can Yoel do to not have to worry about this weight cut that much or to make the weight cut easier? The first thing to do, well, not the first thing, but the easiest thing would be to simply go up a division. I mean, if he's not making the weight at middleweight, either the eventually the UFC or his own body is gonna force him to move up a division. Is gonna say, "I listen, like the weight cut just isn't working anymore. I have to go up a division." He's not gonna have the same kind of power. He's already old. So that leads me to my next point, which is maybe a couple more fights and call it quits, man. If you can't cut enough weight to make it to the belt, I mean, you can't cut it now. That's not going to change as you get older. But there are a few things he can do to improve his chances of making weight and make the weight cut less taxing on himself. The first thing to do would be to decrease your walk around weight. So I'm not sure what his walk around weight is. I let's just say for the argument's sake, he cuts about say he cuts about 30 pounds. All right. So he walks around at about 220, more or less. Um, he could decrease that walk around weight to 200 pounds. Now that 30-pound weight cut becomes a 15-pound weight cut. He's cutting half the weight in the same amount of time. It just becomes a lot easier for him. That might be what he has to do now. Yeah, to do that, you could see a nutritionist. I know Habib Nurmagomedov had some problems with it. He would go up to 200 pounds and then cut to 155. Eventually, I believe either his liver or his kidneys shut down, and he started going up only to 180. Now, it doesn't seem like much of a difference to us, but in terms of weight cutting, every pound matters. It's that last few pounds that are the worst because you're dehydrated, you're exhausted, you don't have any kind of nutrients, you had to change your diet, and you're still 2 pounds overweight. You got to find some way to just squeeze that extra little bit of water that's left in you. So that's going to be all for today. I just want to do a quick little summary about what weight cutting is and why Yoel had some difficulties with it. If there's any questions or anything you want me to discuss in the future, I like to do these little bit of reactive videos as I find out some news, and I can kind of build a topic off of that. So my next video will be after the fight card on Saturday. I'll post a video either Sunday or Monday discussing future matchups to make after the results of this card, and I'll see you guys then. See ya.